Real quickly before we begin, I want to thank this video's sponsor, CarMarshal.com. CarMarshal.com can save you lots of money on buying used or new vehicles, cars, trucks, school buses. If you want to save money, I'll have a link in the description down below. I know I'm going to
Spanish, and she thought the officer...
Tonight we have new video there. That is a 16-year-old being arrested at her school. And now the Internal Affairs Department of SAPD is investigating this. And our Joe Galley joins us tonight after getting some answers on this, Joe.
Well, that's absolutely right, Randy. San Antonio police hadn't seen that video until I showed it to them this afternoon. Now that they have seen it, we're going to get some answers. An SAPD officer dragged 16-year-old Tiffany Rodriguez along the counter at Pura Vida Charter High School. The officer was originally called to the school to remove a woman who refused to leave the office. Rodriguez says the woman only spoke Spanish and she thought the officer wasn't treating the woman fairly.
Yeah, I was mouthing off, but I was mouthing off to help the lady out with translating Spanish, because he didn't know Spanish.
That's when she says the officer grabbed her.
He slammed me against the door, and I have a bumper here to show it. And when he grabbed me against the door and I told him to stop, to let me go, he got my arm, he twisted it.
Rodriguez's best friend, Cassandra Ortiz, was also in the office. You can see her there in the red shirt. They were both in the office because they were in trouble for being out of uniform, being late, and for cussing. Police tell us Rodriguez had used a racial slur earlier in the day at a school counselor.
I known her for so long, it hurt me to see her getting thrown around everywhere.
Ortiz's mother was the one recording the video. She rushed into the office when she heard screaming.
You can't drag around a child like that. I don't care how mad they get you. You're an adult. You don't grab a child like that.
Rodriguez says her arm and shoulder had to be looked at when she was booked in juvenile detention for resisting arrest and disorderly conduct.
I just think that he shouldn't be working as a cop if he's going to be doing that to kids.
We shared the video with SAPD, and because of that, the department says Internal Affairs is conducting an official investigation.
The officer said that he was wearing a body cam. That has not been reviewed yet, but I'm being told that it will be. The department says if anyone feels that they were ever mistreated by a police officer, they shouldn't hesitate to report the incident to Internal Affairs. Back to you.
All right.
The student.
Watch, massive cop slams handcuffed teen girl into counter for mouthing off. Disturbing footage was posted online this week of a massive San Antonio police officer throwing around a handcuffed 16-year-old girl after she mouthed off to him in the school's office. By Matt Agarist, April 20, 2018. San Antonio, Texas. A San Antonio police officer is under an internal investigation this week after cell phone video shows him slam a handcuffed 16-year-old girl into the counter in her school office and then force her down as she screamed for help. According to the girl and the San Antonio Police Department, the entire incident allegedly began over cussing. The incident occurred during school hours on Wednesday after an SAPD officer was called to Pura Vida Charter High School. The officer was not called to the school to arrest the girl. Instead, he was there to remove a Spanish-speaking woman from the office for refusing to leave. The 16-year-old girl, Tiffany Rodriguez, explained to KABB News that the woman did not speak English and she thought the officer was treating her unfairly. So, she spoke up about it. "Yeah, I was mouthing off, but I was mouthing off to help the lady out, translating Spanish, because he didn't know Spanish," said Rodriguez. This apparent mouthing off caused the officer to grab the young girl, who is 1/3 his size, and begin throwing her around like a rag doll. "He slammed me against the door and I have a bump right here to show it. And when he had me against the door I told him to stop, to let me go. He grabbed my arm and he twisted it," Rodriguez said. When the video begins, the officer has Rodriguez pinned in the corner on a chair and bystanders are asking why she is being treated in such a manner. A student, identified as Cassandra Ortiz, can be heard saying that the officer had her shoved in the corner because she, Rodriguez, didn't want to move over here. Ortiz and Rodriguez were in the office on Wednesday because they were in trouble for being out of uniform and cussing, two offenses that certainly warrant a trip to the office, but definitely not worthy of police action. I knew her for so long it hurt me to see her getting thrown around everywhere, Ortiz said. The woman taking the video was Ortiz's mother, Jessica Villarreal, who says she rushed into the office and began filming because she heard screaming. You can't drag around a child like that. I don't care how mad they get you, you're an adult, you don't grab a child like that, Villarreal said. According to Rodriguez, when she was brought to the juvenile detention center, her arm and shoulder had to be examined for injuries. Now, for mouthing off, this 16-year-old girl will have a criminal record as she was booked on charges of resisting arrest and disorderly conduct. After the video was shown to the SAPD, the department claimed they launched an internal investigation. The officer was also wearing a body camera, however, according to police on Thursday, they have not yet reviewed it. As for Rodriguez, she feels strongly about what happened to her and has a recommendation. I just think that he shouldn't be working as a cop if he is going to be doing that to kids, said Rodriguez. Sadly, this is the second video in only 2 weeks showing a police officer manhandling teenage girls. As TFTP reported earlier this month, body camera footage of a Gloucester Township police officer in Pennsylvania was recently released, which captured the disturbing assault of a small 13-year-old girl by a massive cop. The attack was so deeply troubling that the officer has actually been suspended and subsequently charged after his own cops turned on him.
You didn't have to grab her by her hair like that. Why is he doing that, Kasey?
Because she didn't want to move over here. He told her to move over here and he told her not to. You ain't got to.
Why don't you grab her the way you were grabbing her right now?
Hey, I've got a cameraman.
Okay.
All right?
And
You're her mother?
No, I'm not her mother, but she stays with me. Don't, okay? Go ahead, grab her like that. Let's see what happened. I'm gonna report this.
You can record it.
I am. Call Tiffany's mom. Call Tiffany's mom now.
No.
Call Tiffany. No.
She's on her way.
Call Tiffany's mom. Call Tiffany's mom.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, I need your ID if you're picking her up.
No, I'm with the principal. I'm talking to her. Why? Because I'm recording you?
No, I need
Why?
your
Because
ID.
I'm recording you? I'm with her. She knows who I am.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, she knows.
No.
But don't get her like that. I'll take her with me. Just let her go. I'll take her with
I
me.
need your ID. She ain't going. She's going to jail.
Why is she going to jail? Why do you got her like that? You don't have to grab her like that. Yes, I see what you're doing.
This is where it started.
Pero no hizo nada.
La niña le dijo algo a él sobre el hijo y el señor se puso bien agresivo con la niña. La niña no estaba haciendo absolutamente nada.
No. Why? Because
ahorita usted está usando la autoridad de la niña.
she's saying the truth. Call Tiffany's mom. Tell her hurry up. I know, but I'm with her and she knows I don't have my ID. Oh, I do.
Ándale a otra policía,
Le está diciendo un policía que sí está ahí usted.
la niña no le hizo nada. La
Eso
niña
no es
es la mala
de
agarró
usted.
porque sí es la mala agresiva.
But she's saying right.
A usted que se tiene que ir.
Si yo me estaba
No vamos en...
Hey, she has asthma.
Ok, yo le voy a hablar a la corte, quiero ver qué hago. Bueno, no se va a quedar esto.
Yo, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. On the ground. Hands like that. I got it. Good on one of the other. Lady said several juveniles actively fighting right now. Put your hands calm down. Stop resisting.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use, and also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon. Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.